Okay, you're gonna have to introduce it.
Hey, you know why we do this podcast, Dad? Because we're family.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to Movies with My Dad. For those of you who are listening for the first time, we like to do movie reviews based on the generational gap between me and my dad. We watch classic movies with him. We watch modern movies with me. And we like to organize these. We do our first impressions, then we do our positive, then the negative, and then we always end it with how we think we could have made the movie better. Or, in the case of classic movies, we say how we can make the movie for today. Now, today we decided to watch Fast and the Furious 9.
Hold on, let me speed up. Let me get in the mood.
Get in the character, yes. We watched Fast and Furious 9 in the theater. I gotta keep telling myself that.
Oh my god.
So I think
Alright.
I'm gonna let you go first. What are your first impressions, Dad?
Oh wow. It's like I said, it's the summer's biggest comedy. It's great.
Oh, it's gonna be so hard to actually say this critically without cracking up. Okay, here's here's the biggest points I wanted to make just from my first impressions before going into anything positive or negative. I swear this could be a kids movie. Aside from some of the violence, it's a kids movie. It really is. I felt like I was either watching a kids movie or a foreign film. It made that much sense to me.
Well,
They
definitely know their audience. There's no doubt about that.
This is such a Fast and the Furious movie. Seriously, you're talking... Oh my gosh, the scene that killed me straight from the get-go, 5 minutes in. So not
hold on, you don't...
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No
Okay.
spoilers.
First impressions. We keep the first impression spoiler-free.
Yeah.
First impression... Yeah.
Go ahead.
This felt like a kid's movie. It checked every single Fast and Furious box and then dialed it up to a Spinal Tap 11 and just...
Okay, so...
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I had fun. That movie is why you go to the movies.
I honestly...
Do you go to the movies... And if you want to see reality, watch a documentary. If you want to suspend reality and have disbelief and just enjoy the ride and laugh and smile and chuckle and get a little warm nostalgic feeling in your heart, that's what you go to movies for. This was it.
I gotta disagree with you there. I really didn't enjoy myself.
No, I can see you twisting and turning in your seat.
Well, actually, at one point, I whipped out my phone, turned the brightness all the way down, and tucked it under my arm, and I looked at the runtime to compare it to when the movie started to see how much longer I had to wait. I was so done. I checked the runtime twice, just hoping this movie would be over. I don't know if you heard me, but there's a part, spoiler-free, there's a part in the end scene where it feels like it could be the end and it dips to black and the music ends, and I thought the credits were going to pop up, and I got really excited, and then it popped to another scene, and I don't know if you heard me, but I cursed under my breath because I was hoping I wanted the movie.
It definitely had the Lord of the Rings, Return of the Kings ending, you know?
I just wanted the movie to be over.
The multiple endings.
And as soon as the credits started to roll, I'm like, oh, thank goodness, let's get out of here. I didn't even like it as a stupid movie. I didn't even like it as a dumb.
I had fun with it, but the coolest part about doing our thing here is, when did the first one come out?
I don't know.
Seriously, you want to talk about a multi-generational comparison of movies?
I will say this, though. It did make me want to go back and watch the first Fast and the Furious.
I want to go back, and because you watch them, you put them away. You don't... it's not necessarily a series, although this is number 9. I don't know if you throw Tokyo Drift into the number sequence, I can't remember. And then there's Hobbs and Shaw. You want to talk about a franchise that has the most staying power, not staying power, but the most revenue. And seriously, it's probably one of the highest grossing film franchises of all times.
Yeah.
They're huge summer blockbuster movies. They have been from the first, since the first one. First one kind of had this little cult appeal to it because it was very specific to the street racer crowd and people who were into that. I don't think they intended to reach the market that they did. At the time, Vin Diesel was, I don't want to say a B-lister, but he certainly wasn't a blockbuster A-lister. He was, I don't know if Pitch Black came out before or after, but he definitely was, he was on the track to stardom. But I think he kind of took the job because, or they offered it to him because no one else was really going to take the chance on him or what. But he hadn't proved himself as the action hero that we see today when the first one came out. And what's his face, the blonde dude, Paul Walker, hadn't been in a whole lot either, right?
Yeah.
If anything, he was everybody in that first movie was not an unrecognizable nobody, but a couple of the cops you've seen before in other cop movies and stuff like that.
Well, what's your point?
What was my point?
You're talking about how big of...
So you go from that, which was, hold on just a sec, Fast and the Furious, right? The first one. They've changed the... Instead of just putting numbers, they just take those away. The Fast and the Furious. Okay. 2001. When were you born?
2002.
Okay. So you want to talk about movies, like I said, multi-generational movies. This franchise has been out since before you were born. And it has been a summer blockbuster franchise for your entire lifespan.
Yeah.
That alone is, to me, as a movie fan, that is impressive.
You can't knock it, but you can't knock what it is. You can't knock what it, what it became and what it came from.
Yeah.
You can certainly knock what it is now.
Well, so that's with that in mind, I give it a little latitude. You and I went to the movies. We got an opportunity. It was something, especially after being locked up for a year and not having over a year, and not having the movies open and not having a big blockbuster to look forward to. I wasn't super looking forward to this one because it definitely the series has definitely gone off the rails.
And into space.
Well, literally off. They're trading in their tires. But like I said, it was an opportunity for you and I to go see something that was moderately anticipated. The June through August releases they usually put their biggest stuff out there for that. So I enjoyed it for that sake. It's been around for so long. I give it a lot of latitude. I've watched a lot of the movies multiple times. I own a couple, we own a couple of the movies.
Yeah.
So there are elements of the movie that I like. There's a lot of, I'll save it for the critique part. There's a lot of things that it's like, okay, that's just beyond absurd.
That's off the charts. Like, of the absurd chart, it's off.
Yeah.
They went crazy with this one. They knew what they were doing. But so here's the thing.
I think they're saying goodbye.
Yeah. To branch off of what you said with what's called okay, I'm just going to branch into the positive here. There's one part of this movie that I actually
and now okay. If you're looking forward to a summer blockbuster, go see it. Go have fun. Don't go in.
It's not like there's anything else out right now.
Well, that's what I mean. So go enjoy it. Go have fun. Don't expect, even from the first Fast and Furious, I don't think you should be expecting
Academy Awards here.
Well, no Academy Awards and not a single ounce of reality thrown into the mix.
And here's the thing: we knew what we were getting into.
Yeah.
Enter
Hey,
at your own risk.
When you are starting to draw in the likes of The Rock and John Cena into your franchise, you know what you got yourself into. You know what market you're hitting.
Oh, who cares? They're making that money.
Yeah, I mean it borders on a Godzilla movie where it's just two titans smashing around on the screen. That's the whole point of it.
Straight up.
So
okay, that's
with
the
that
end
being
of the...
said, if you just wanted our take on it real quick, turn it off.
So
the rest is spoilers.
Rest is spoilers.
We're gonna tear this apart.
That's important to name there. So okay, the one positive, the one thing that I actually really liked, and I thought was the one part I actually thought was well acted, pretty well written, was just the parts where they're having the flashbacks.
Exactly.
I'm being fully serious. The what I was
100%.
actually thinking when I was watching this movie, I'm like, I just want this prequel.
I thought the exact same thing.
I'm like, I just want them to take this part right there and make this prequel with those exact same actors.
You know,
because those kids were pretty good.
They were fantastic. They were absolutely fantastic.
Especially the kid playing Vin Diesel.
Yeah, no, he was spot on. So, you know that I think it's a meme if I'm using the term right.
I'll be the judge of that.
Where they have the picture of Carl and Ellie from Up, and it says, you know, that Disney told a better love story in 15 minutes than any movie you've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, the first 15 minutes of Up or whatever just tells you just such an amazing love story, and how sweet and just full of heart, full of emotion. It grips you. That's what sets you up for the rest of the movie, which
makes you cry 2 minutes later.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's 10 to 15 minutes of just super impactful storytelling, which is phenomenal.
Right.
The prequel portions, the flashbacks would have made honestly, just save it.
They were the only
and put they could have made another run at this if they had made a prequel, figured out, okay, this is testing well with test audiences. Let's pull this out and let's just make a prequel movie, and then let's come back and do the Fast 9 that we already had slated.
Right.
I mean, it really.
I mean, I gotta be honest.
They could have sold a lot of tickets on that, and actually had people going in with a lot more hype and a lot more heat, ready to watch this movie, because that was a phenomenal story. 10 minutes in, I was thinking the exact same thing. I would rather just see a prequel movie than what's about to come. And it took 9 movies and brand new kid actors to portray more emotion and heart. That was the most impactful, deepest acting credits, chops that I've seen in the entire series.
Well, yeah, what I wanted to say was, like, I'll kind of stick my neck out for those parts. It wasn't like it was just not as bad as the rest of the movie. I was really like, that's the part that brought me back.
It was seriously,
to the first movie.
It was part of the best of the entire series.
Yeah, when like they had that race where they're going like around the bridge. I'm like,
yeah,
this is like straight up the first Fast and the Furious.
Only with a lot more on the line and a lot more heart. You actually,
right?
You know, you buy into the kids. There, you know, I'll save my criticisms of casting for the negative portion and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't want to wind you up too tight. You tend to let loose before we're supposed to go to the negative part.
But as far as the positives, I could have watched a 2-hour prequel movie, and after this many movies, the franchise really does deserve it. You know. They didn't. I don't think they put as much into it as they could have or should have.
Okay, why not? It sounded like you got a shortage. It's like, oh, we can only do so many movies. Like, you have 20 movies, okay?
Exactly.
And you have it like a crazy
and with the
budget.
stuff they've thrown out there and the people they've brought back to life, the resurrection stories, this and that. I mean, you're bringing a brother into the picture on the 9th movie.
I think he was technically around in like one of the. Who cares?
No. You never existed in the storyline. Never. They had to rewrite everything. They had to retcon half the story or all of the entire series for 2 characters.
Yeah.
Because, but those were positives, because this is what I'll give a ton of credit for. Retconning properly has got to be difficult. You know, I've thought of stories in my head. I've thought of, films. I'm being a huge film buff. I've definitely done my share of sitting and kind of tinkering in my head with storylines of sequels and, intellectual properties that I would like to see done right. Tron Legacy being a huge one. I was an enormous fan of Tron, and it took 20 plus years to get a sequel, and
Dad, you're gonna.
I'm going. Yeah. So
you're gonna. Yeah.
I'm gonna go off on a side venture there, but anyway, the point is, for a storyteller to sit and come up with, to weave the fabric of that many stories, to reweave it, to be able to bring characters back, and the reason they brought Han back is because with Tokyo Drift, he became a fan favorite.
Oh, that's why they made
fan favorite.
That's why they made the 4th one a prequel, right?
Yes. So when the 4th one came in,
was it the 4th one or was it Fast 5?
It was 5, 4, 5, wherever he came into the mix, and everybody's like, wait a minute, he's dead. All the fans, all the people who've seen all the other movies, they're like, he's dead. What is this all about? And then there are all the, the internet chatterers. Oh, it's a prequel. Okay, I'll buy into that. But he was such a favorite in Tokyo Drift. His character was very cool, very good-hearted, lovable, just like you see ever since. Especially with you not having seen Tokyo Drift, he's an endearing character. He's definitely a fan favorite. So they had to eventually show him getting killed off throughout the series because they showed him getting killed off at the end of Tokyo Drift. So to be able to bring him back after all this story's been told is just very, very impressive in my opinion. And it's a huge positive. And having to retcon the entire story of Dominic Toretto and his sister and the whole group who's known each other since kids and have no mention of a brother, but then throw him into the whole story and then bring it back to the dad and to see what started this whole run.
Well, what I was going to say, what they did a good job with that story is that they made it in a way where you could see from both sides. You
Yes.
see, you could absolutely see.
You see from both of the boys' eyes.
Exactly.
And-
where honestly, from their perspectives, both of them were in the right. It's all a matter of
Yes.
your view.
And you see why he never would have been mentioned before.
Yeah, it was a
again,
"you're dead to me"
very
kind of.
impressive storyline. It just because they built in the emotional charge of the whole event to
Right.
cause him to never speak of him again, kind of thing. So as far as that's concerned, it was fun and impressive storytelling, and in the world of rehash, reboot, blah, 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 to keep a story going and evolving and chasing to the next level, because you have to, the one-upsmanship of this entire series has reached its peak. I mean, what's next?
I think at this
What's
point,
next? They can't
okay.
they can't one up themselves. They have to bring the story back.
Yeah.
If they want to do a Fast 10, they have to bring it back to its roots.
They really can't move much more forward.
No, they
So
the
we
needle
have to,
the needle has spiked.
We have to flip this into the negative, because here's the thing.
Well, so
Well, what do you-
positive for in a world of, in the last 20 plus years, there's been a lot of recycled crap. There's been a lot of just trash movies. There's been a lot of unimpressive storytelling. At the end of the day, this might have been beyond a Fast and Furious movie. Would you have been able to buy into the absurdity if it was a G.I. Joe movie?
Oh, that was actually what I was going to bring up.
Because it felt like a
on the
G.I.
way
Joe movie.
On the way over here, I'm like, this movie only made it through because it's a Fast and the Furious movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it was like this goofy, and they were doing all the stuff they were doing, and it didn't have Fast and Furious in the title or the select cast of characters, and people didn't know what they were getting into, never would have made it through.
But as for me, when the positives come to anything other than the prequel section, because that's obvious, just for me, the good parts of the movie is all the flashbacks. But as for the actual movie, the best I can say really is that you get what you paid for. You get what you thought was going. It's a Fast and Furious movie.
You get 2.5 hours of just. I mean, there was not a pause.
No, that's true.
There was not a lull. There was not a moment to fall asleep as hard as you tried. And like I said, if you can suspend the reality of a lot of things, you can just go and enjoy the movie. And again, 2.5 hour creative ride, some amazing new elements, some cool trucks. I mean, it'd be cool to have that big Caterpillar truck thing, the Truckosaurus at the end. They always introduce like the coolest looking vehicles and guns and armor and stuff like that. I just thought there was, throwing magnets in and stuff was cool. Elements.
You gotta give them points for creativity.
You got to give credit where credit is due for a lot of things, and is like I said, the absurdity level being what it is.
Well, granted, you have a lot of room to be creative when you're not at all grounded by reality. When literally anything is possible, you just have to imagine it.
So that's a good segue.
Oh, goody. Let's move this into my favorite part of the day. I just love it. Now for the negative. So this is a Fast and the Furious movie. Okay, look, just for me, like straight up, the way I always like to start is, let's just start with the opening scene. From the get-go, it's just the most, like the same phrase kept going through my head the entire time. I'm like, they're just going through the motions. It was like a table read for their lines where they're not really giving much effort. It's the most like cliche, cliche, like
just stop in the car because they get the guns out and they just have this lockbox in the garage that's open. It's
in
a
the
barn.
barn.
It's a barn.
It's a barn, even though they have no animals and
right
no
next
plants.
to the panic room that's, again, outside, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to be caught outside in the garage, or you just happen to have a panic room in the house and in the bathroom and, in the barn and maybe one in the outhouse. I mean, it just... it's too perfect for them to just be able to reach and do that.
What I meant was like the you see how that works, buddy? Or or, come on out, son. Or like when Brian and Mia got out of the game when they became parents. We're not them. And then she just drives away.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well,
and even then, the ridiculous... Hang on 1 second. The ridiculousness hits you straight in the face because like they start talking to each other and I'm like, oh, cool, the old cast, and they're hugging and they whip out the laptop and that weird foldable keyboard that makes no sense. And they're like, Mr. Nobody, secret agent, pinpointed to this location. And I'm just like, why are you telling them this?
Because there's been...
and the Cypher chick came back and I'm like...
there's been too many movies and too much time between, and not enough character development of...
Yeah.
What's his face?
Toretto?
No.
Roman?
No, Wyatt Earp. Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, Mr. Nobody?
There was never enough buildup of Kurt Russell's character in the whole thing. You're like, oh yeah, he was in one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they have to re-explain it.
It was the most going through the motions cliche, like he has a kid and this line and this line that you can see coming a mile away. Then they get into all the crazy nonsense stuff to get the plot going and just
the I'm in moment.
Yeah.
It's like, really, don't. Hey, you can tease us that you're going to do a Fast and Furious movie without Vin Diesel that he's only in the first 5 minutes of? Really?
But he's conflicted.
He's dark and brooding.
He has a son now.
He's almost got the Batman backstory. I mean, Fast and Furious 10 could explain where his mom went, or multiple moms. I'll still save that moment. So it's like, of course he's going to find a reason to join up in this dramatic fashion. It's like, Mr. Furious, is there an angry way I can go back and apologize?
Quick.
Is there a brooding way I can show up late to the party and say I'm in?
Quick, let me suck my lips in tighter.
Let me give Blue Steel, and then I'll catch up with you. But
Where's my wrench?
the disjointed nature of it, like you were saying. So what it feels like is that, when you're brainstorming for a story or a book or so you got to write an essay or a paper for school, right?
Right.
In elementary school, they tell you, write down your subject, that whatever your title or your essay is supposed to be about, and then you do these little spiderweb bubbles, right?
You do that? Yeah, you do like the outline.
You do your outline bubbles, so you can be like, okay, I want to put in this element, I want to put in this element, I want to put in this element, I'm going to bring this person back, and this person's still in contract, these guys said no, so that bubble goes away.
You know what it's like? It's like they did that, and then they're like, great, how are you going to do it? It's like, it's right there.
Well,
we're just going to do it.
The problem is, it seems emotionally disjointed, where it's just layer upon layer upon layer. Okay, we fit that in. Okay, we fit that in. Okay, we fit that in. How do we bring these together? Let's just feed 2 lines of dialogue that doesn't make any sense with no explanation. They'll buy it. They won't even ask. Who cares?
It really felt like they were just doing this for the paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, like the part where I know a couple of guys in Germany.
Oh no! I leaned over to you in that scene. I leaned over to you in that scene, and I'm like, of course he does.
Yeah, but I thought that they were going to use that to bring in, like the two guys, like the dude that was barbecuing at the end.
2 guys from Fast Five. The crazy
the
guys. They're awesome. Yeah.
I thought they were going to use that to bring them in, or a couple of the other characters, or maybe Hobbs and Shaw. I thought they were going to use that to do a cameo and bring those guys in. But then he asked him, well, Dominic Toretto sent me, or said that you guys could help, and they're like, who? So he knows them, and he knows exactly where to send them, and they just happen to be building rockets to be able to help, but yet there's no explanation as to how he knows them. They know each other. They just all help out, and no one knows anybody.
Because family.
Because family.
Yeah, and the big thing for me is I like to kind of go through it scene by scene, like especially like that was the biggest part where I was feeling like I'm gonna say this in this way. The biggest problem I had is the Venezuelan scene. You want to know why? Because I didn't know it was Venezuela until it was after the scene. Do you realize that that whole time they don't say like the name of the country? They say we're gonna have a run-in with the military.
Yeah,
the military. I'm like, really?
Well,
what branch? What country?
And
they're like,
and
it's the military.
They put Venezuela. They put that in like a subtext, right?
They like said that at the end. They're like, no, it was like this plane crashed in Venezuela, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh, it was in Venezuela.
So, well, not necessarily. They could have gone past, because they went past a border, right?
Yeah, that's just
so
the military. Oh, and don't even get me started on when.
Well, that's what we're here to do, is get you started.
When Roman was in that room and he shoots 1,000 guys with an AK-47, and he literally gets lit up with bullet holes all over his jacket.
Well, there's no way to survive with. You're not even gonna get a shot off on one person.
If one guy's aiming at you, and you're on the ground, and you so much as twitch, that's it.
Well, they're above you. They got you in a shooting gallery, and you get out. So, the
Oh, and hang on, real quick, just on one quick little tangent on something like that. Why when Jacob and Dom were having their meetup over in what was it, London? And they're both pointing the guns at each other, and thankfully, after John Cena was putting together a gun, he already had one in a holster in his suit jacket, so that when Dom steals it in the slow motion grip shot, he just pulls out another one. Why do all the Interpol guys line up directly behind Dom to where every gun is also pointing at Jacob? Do you notice that?
Yeah.
Every single guy.
Because that's how they fit best into the shot, because the bar was on the other side of the room.
They're packed up shoulder to shoulder.
No, the bar was on the other side of the room, and the camera was already set up.
Yeah, and I'm like, every last one of them, if one of them were to take a shot, they would either be shooting each other or Jacob.
So that scene reminded me of Mystery Men.
Oh, yeah. Completely.
We've always been each other's best nemesis. And he's talking about the tranquilizer dart, and please take this. It's like, oh yeah, that gun is for you, this gun is for me. I knew that you knew that I'd know that you had a gun and that I'd take your gun. Well, I knew that you would be taking my gun, so I had another gun. So and
that's what it was.
And I know you'd point the gun at me, and I'd point the gun at you, and I knew that we would end up killing each other if we didn't call Interpol. So I called him ahead of time.
You know what the best part is about that scene?
But then hold on. But then you knew I'd call Interpol, so you called Cardi B.
Oh my!
And she acted as an Interpol agent, and that's why they lined up with all the guns facing Jacob, because they were realistically. In reality, they were all on Dom's team. They didn't want to accidentally shoot them.
I'm about to crush my phone in my hand right now and scream because of that scene. Just
was she the because there was one of the sequels. There was a female,
no, Cardi B wasn't around.
Thieving
at this time.
Team, right? Remember, there was a team of female thieves
in Hobbs and Shaw.
In one of them that they had to lean on, right? And they went to that house.
Yeah, it was in Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay.
And no, she was not there.
Okay.
No, Cardi B was not popular before the last movie. Hang on, can you hang the phone for a second?
Yeah. So, just the sheer absurdity of that whole thing, and just the deliberate cameo of her. I mean, what bothers me?
She's not an actor.
It just shows you who they're
actress.
It just shows you who they're pandering to.
Mm.
They're pandering to the Twitter crowd and the Instagrams and whatever else. Just everybody who would be into Cardi B. That's who they're gearing. They know if they can put her in a cameo, that's 200,000 people that might not have come and seen this movie, but they're going to go see it just for her 2-second cameo. Think, oh, there's my girl, and she's awesome. Look at how great she did. It's like she couldn't act her way out of a paper bag.
That was the worst part of the movie, hands down.
And there were some bad parts.
When Cardi B came in, oh my god.
So
to go back to what I was saying and here's the thing I really wanted to talk with you about. I want you to find me a car so strong that if you somehow magically hook a cord to the axle by twisting the wheel a certain way, it doesn't rip the axle off the car, but somehow holds its weight enough and swings it up a mountain.
Find me a cable that's going to do that. And find me a pillar that's holding that said cable.
It was a piece of
wood.
Hold on. It was a piece of wood.
The pillar holding the cable that you just happen to lodge in the perfect spot to get it stuck in the axle with a wheel turn to then launch you across, and at the end of that arc of the swing, not put enough weight on that one cord to rip the other end of the pillar out of the other end of the bridge where you had just ran it over so easily.
Oh my gosh.
So the weight of the car, the weight and momentum of the car was able to knock this side out, but it's so anchored in on the other side, and you knew that you were able to swing it. So that brings me into one of my biggest problems with the entire thing.
Also, hang on. How could you possibly hook the cable in there by turning the steering wheel?
they lodged it in. I don't know.
With what
So-
grappling
so-
mechanism? Yeah.
With their little web of pre-game, pre-story concept, right, where they layered in the elements. We want to bring back this character. We want to have this touching moment. We want to have Vin Diesel do Blue Steel in this scene and then this scene, and we want to bring in John Cena and have them somehow be related. So they also said, we really like the bridge scene in Indiana Jones, and we really like the running along the edge of this cliff on the side of a wall from Lord of the Rings, and we really like the space scene in Armageddon where Ben Affleck shows up towards the end of the story and he's still alive, and we really like this movie and that movie. And they didn't even hide the elements. It's almost like watching Cars, where like Lightning McQueen is playing Indiana Jones, and then Mater goes to space, and then
You know what it was like watching? It was like a Tom and Jerry cartoon when they're going across the bridge and only one plank is falling at a time each time his foot touches it. Because apparently the whole bridge stays suspended and it doesn't all fall at once like how gravity works.
the other end of the cable goes, but you're able to get traction as your traction counters gravity. So as gravity's falling, you're able to drive against gravity without just pushing the bridge away from you and having it fall a millimeter further,
yeah,
so you
it
lose
just-
traction completely.
Another thing about
Enough
that,
to then
yeah.
launch you up in the air like a ramp.
And not only did
It's
they
still
not,
no anchor
not
at the
only-
other
I
side.
thought they were just going to kind of barely hook it and gas it and make it over. No, they flew over that mountain. They
Yes,
had
they
some-
launched it. Okay, so
well, another thing with that scene is just like the writing portion of it. Okay, two big things that I want to say, because it'd be too much. Like if I sat here and nitpicked every single scene, sorry if I missed them. Trust me, I didn't miss them. I just can't say them because this would be 8-hour podcast.
Okay.
The big thing is, one, it was every single cliche, insult, and joke. That's why I didn't laugh at any of the jokes in this movie.
Yeah.
They're so cliche, nobody thinks you're compensating for something. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that's been a joke for 70 years.
yeah,
And the other big one was the cars chasing Roman and all the other guys in wide open space, and he's ducking his head and moving his hands around, and bullets are flying all around him, but they hit everywhere but him, and he's able to casually walk behind a rock, and now suddenly all the bullets are whizzing past him.
they have stormtrooper like aim.
They would have been obliterated.
So, one of the positive things that I didn't want to talk about in the positive section because I didn't want to give stuff away earlier in the what we're doing here. I'm a sucker for nostalgia. I'm a sucker for emotional moments, especially the older I get. You become more sentimental. So I like those moments where they meet up, where they all see that Han. There was some great acting there. There were some great moments where they see that Han's alive.
There were some good
It's almost
moments.
like you can see Han's character. It's like they said, okay, pretend that Paul Walker just walked back on set, and he's really alive, and now you're seeing him walk on the set. That would be very easy to get those actors to respond the way they did to Han, which was phenomenal, in my opinion, phenomenal emotional acting in moments and very impactful moments in that scene, because you can see these guys have been through 20 years. They've been through 20 years of movie making together, some of them. And there's that bond there. So to bring this guy back, it was really cool how I thought they captured it.
They did a good job.
So with the negatives, Fast and Furious has always in all rights, any car chase movie has thrown physics right out the window. Right?
Yeah.
You launch, how many car chases have there been in San Francisco? thousands of movies with car chases through San Francisco. But when they launch themselves off of something and the suspension slams down, or like Gone in 60 Seconds, if you launched a car off of even a 3-foot jump and then landed, your suspension's going every which way. Your tires are buckling. I deal with crashes all day long. I see what happens when cars impact something even at 10 miles an hour. If you're going down the road at 50 and you do a jump, you're going to bend that frame in half. But like I said, we suspend reality with all movies with car chases. It's just something we do because we want to enjoy it. It's beyond, But I've always used the example of Hulk, right?
There has to be
the
limits.
First Hulk, where he can lift a tank, but then he can't break the turret from the bottom half of the tank. But then he can pick the whole thing up and throw it 1,000 miles. And then he can jump 20 feet, but then he can jump 4 bounds, and goes from Nevada to San Francisco.
I thought it was like New Mexico.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You get my point. He jumps like a flea all of a sudden.
Like if you're going to suspend reality, you need to put your own reality in the movie.
You still have to. All you should do is extend the boundaries, extend the bumpers, not make it limitless, and you have to work within those bounds.
Well, and there has to be consistency with it. So, like, to put this into perspective, sure, a 5-foot jump going 15 miles an hour would probably bend the frame of a car.
Yes,
but
but swinging a car from a cable
It's
is never going to work ever.
Yeah.
Unless it was so anchored in. I mean, you could do it, obviously. You
have to hook the car.
You suspend bridges with cables. It can happen. But that wasn't even the least of it.
Well, the thing is, what I mean is, if you're going to suspend reality, cool. Instead of 5 feet and 15 miles an hour, maybe it'll buckle at 70 miles an hour and 40 feet. But you still get like that threshold.
Like I said,
but here's the thing: don't make one car buckle at 70 miles an hour, and then the next car comes in doing 120, and it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we don't know how physics work. We don't know how bullets work, apparently. So you can see and anticipate where they're going to be shooting, and you physically dodge the bullet. And then
or standing wide out in the open with your pump action shotgun shooting people 500 yards away.
Exactly.
With blue steel on your face.
Yeah. Or they're driving the cars and they can see where the bullets are whizzing by while they're going 60 miles an hour while looking in their rearview mirror.
When your car is bulletproof except for the rearview mirror, just so you can get that shot of them shooting the mirror off of your car.
But the windows are gone and they're ducking. Okay. A car is going to afford you some protection from bullets, but just ask Bonnie and Clyde how protective they're going to be, right?
Well, I thought that the cars were probably bulletproof.
No, because the windows were missing. The windows end up getting blasted out at a certain amount of times.
I thought you could see like the back windshield, like the bullets sparking off.
You could. That's my point.
Oh, jeez.
It's bulletproof sometimes, not in others. There were bullet holes all along the side of the car, but none of those bullets penetrate into where anybody's sitting. There's not a single hole in any of the seats. No one gets a scratch. No one ever gets
I'd love to talk to the guys in scripts like, hey, why are there bullet holes in the car? Oh, because to show the logical consistency, because they were being shot. Aren't they bulletproof?
Maybe. So
sometimes.
You flip that Caterpillar tractor. I don't even want to get into the physics of how much momentum you would have to flip 3 cars of a articulating vehicle. It's basically like a semi and 2 trailers. Once you flip the front end,
the back end's going
to snap off and fold in half. But that doesn't allow you to ride it like a surfboard, get inside of it, jump around the inside like you're not crashing.
Oh, also
blow up the bottom, use the explosive device to then flip it back on its wheels and then get back and drive it again, and then drive it so well that you jump out and launch it into the airplane that happens to be a drone, so you don't really get the good kill. You think you get the exciting kill, but the bad guy still gets away because she walks out of the drone, and then cool guys don't look back at explosions.
Everything
And he didn't slide off
you
the
just
hill.
said, everything you just said. There's one guy who said that in the writers' room, and he got cheers and a $50,000 bonus for everything
At
you
least.
just said.
At least. So,
But
hold on.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
the last piece, so you got the physics, you've got bullet dynamics. I won't even address fighting, because if guys got cauliflower ears, they're going to beat you. If you see someone with cauliflower ear,
Stay away.
they're going to beat you. I don't care how tough you think you are. If you don't have cauliflower ear, you're going to get your butt handed to you. So, we forgot about the other actor, the main character of Fast 9. Magnets. Electromagnets. So,
Oh, by the way, one thing I want to say about when they're using the electromagnets, they would have killed so many innocent people. When they put a car through like 3 buildings.
the rain of bullet fire as they're driving into crowded streets and then deliberately go onto the sidewalk while they're being shot at.
They would have killed. Yeah, I love that.
But
They're
you
getting
tried to
shot
stir
at.
the crowd?
They're getting
The only-
shot at, and people are ducking away. And
The
it
only-
goes onto the sidewalk.
Yes, would you scaring them off the sidewalk so they don't get shot? The bullets are after you, so wherever you go, the bullets go, and you're going towards the people. And guess what? The people only have one place to run now, because there's a building on their one side, so they get to run out in the street. So they have the option of being shot to death, or getting run over by the people chasing you, or stay put and get run over by you, or worse yet, probably all three, because there were cars going everywhere, there were bullets going everywhere, and you left them nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. But do we know how electromagnets work? And you can dial them to supermagnet, and you can dial them back to repulse. That only works with another magnet, right? It doesn't use to work ferrous metals and push them negatively. How? Am I wrong?
No.
It becomes a pulse wave to then push a car back. At least they were consistent that the things right next to them could magnetize, but things further away would magnetize and then crash behind them, because the magnetic would
No.
the magnetics would still cause the momentum to then launch them into the other cars.
They were not all consistent with the magnetic thing, because they can turn it on full blast and pull John Cena through. Pull John Cena through 2 buildings with metal racking, metal poles, metal doors, people wearing a bunch of metal. He crashed through a metal mailbox that didn't move. And then slams so hard, like the magnet is so powerful that he slams in through the side of the truck, and he lands just so perfectly in the middle of it, and not one other piece of metal in that entire street. Which, by the way, if it's that powerful, it'd be sucking up the manholes
Every light
and the
pole's
pipes
coming.
and the pipe and plumbing underneath the street.
The piping in the building, all the wiring for the electricity.
If you had a magnet that powerful,
the frame of the windows, if they're in metal, just the steel,
the lock on the window,
the rebar in every piece of concrete, it's all coming, baby. It's all coming.
Could you imagine somebody with a cap in their teeth? Or like a silver crown? Or like
I don't.
Oh no, silver's not magnetic.
Yeah, no, I don't think that stuff that the metal stuff, the amalgam, whatever. I don't know that is.
Well, that's my bad.
I think it's deliberately not, but whatever.
But
I'm not
if
a
it was,
dentist, so I don't know.
But if it was, that'd be so funny.
Oh my gosh! But to just watch
What
someone's
if someone had a hip replacement?
someone's bridge or their retainer getting sucked out of their, just have.
I have a wire retainer in the
to
bottom of my mouth.
Have their braces get ripped out, and you just see these chiclets come ripping out of somebody's mouth, and they're just sitting there with gums.
Either
That'd be hysterical.
Either that, or you'd see me biting the side of a truck.
So, you want to see. You want to know the other person who got a $50,000 raise on the pat of the back? The choreographer who has you run through a flipped over backwards crashed truck, then dive out of your car into another car, fit John Cena's 6'4", 260 backside into a Toyota Supra. What was that orange car?
I think it was definitely a Toyota.
It was Toyota something.
I think it was a Supra.
Whatever it was.
All right, how about
John Cena's not fitting in that car, but the magic act they did to get him in that on the move while it's magnetized to another car, amazing.
How about
The glass slipper.
when he jumps off the truck? Which, by the way, for some reason only had a tablet where you can control the most important part of your mission on the top of it.
Let's
Who
go
puts-
ahead and install that on the roof so we have to dramatically climb outside the car. Did we not have enough room to build that inside?
Why didn't you send the big guy out there? Why didn't you just hit the brakes for a second?
Exactly.
Or why didn't you just lock the door behind him? You could have done anything.
You didn't need to send the bigger guy up behind him to take him out.
What I was leading to with that is he jumps off and then Dom sees that he's about to hit in the street. Oh no, he's about to fall down in the street. That's a hard fall. So he launches a car to meet him at the exact same speed.
I'm gonna have
to where
you
he
land on the hood.
yeah
That'll save you.
he slammed on the side of the car and magically bounced just perfectly into whatever car Mia was in.
Yeah.
Or that big the giant caterpillar, or the one that Roman had in the
Did
beginning.
you see the
And I'm like-
difference in comparison of the size of her arms and his arms as he's hanging onto the side of the car, and she's going to pull him to safety? He would rip her arm clean off her body.
Oh, him hitting the car alone, he would have exploded.
Yeah. So now I'm going there.
Well, I want to go back to what you said about the
Go.
choreography for
Yes.
a second. The big thing, the fight was stupid, but here's the big thing that caught me. Mia kicked someone dead in the chest, and it knocked him out. I don't know if anyone here has ever been in a fight before.
It must have
but
stopped his heart.
I think she just killed him. Body shots do not knock someone unconscious.
Okay, so I'm all for whatever story you're gonna throw in, but you want to talk about suspending reality. The Fantastic Four reboot, right?
Oh, Fan Four Stick.
Whatever. 3 bad actors, 1 bad movie. Michael B. Jordan, who I absolutely thoroughly enjoy. He has Sue Storm and Johnny Flame are brother and sister in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So you throw in a very quick adoption backstory, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It makes because
And here's what's the difference?
well,
you know what I mean?
it works. I don't care. I'll buy into it. I don't care because whatever you got to do to make Michael B. Jordan be Johnny Flame, I'm good with that. He's a phenomenal actor.
As long as it's not Chris Evans again.
Yeah, and if you're going to incorporate it in the Marvel universe, you can't. So I think he's a great choice. And if you want to keep Sue Storm is this gal, is this white gal, then so be it. I don't care where you stand or where you land on any kind of diversity platform. Please explain to me how John Cena and Vin Diesel can come from ever in the same genetic profile
Oh, even
of the same 2 parents.
Even that Cypher chick, so like
It's
like
hard
a
to even-
Nordic background or something. Like that.
There's a Nordic strain, a strain of DNA. What you a virus?
Your chin is distinctive. So is that bowl cut.
Well, and you notice Dad had a very distinct chin, almost like they did. It almost looked like they put, what's that face changing stuff?
deepfake.
Deepfake. It's almost like they did a deep fake of some dude that was going to play Dom's dad over John Cena's bone structure to kind of give it that blend
They
of
tried
blend of
so
the
hard
two.
yeah.
But it just doesn't. And then you add the sister into the mix. The 3 of them
I could see Vin Diesel and Mia as siblings.
from the very beginning.
They somewhat look alike.
From the very beginning, because
But John Cena he looks like
well, people have even made jokes about Vin Diesel about his genetic who is he? What's his ethnicity?
Oh, yeah, no one knows.
He's very kind of
multi-ethnic or
what's the word? Just an amalgamation. He's just very non-distinct anything,
Yeah.
right? He's got such a mix of everything that he can play any role. He's played multiple different ethnicities
Right.
and leaned into, some more than others. He plays an Italian in Saving Private Ryan.
Oh yeah.
Plays an Italian, right, from Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
He's played everything. And is, as far as I'm concerned, a great actor. He's the one that's been carrying this franchise. So all credit due. But you don't explain that they have different moms. Something that Dominic was his first kid, and the other two were from a different mom.
That would actually lean in better to him being resentful because of that.
Exactly. And that he had no right to be resentful, but they don't really get into it. But there's only it's very difficult when they do that kind of what do you call it, casting without explanation. And there was a movie that we watched not too long ago that was the same issue. I can't remember what it was,
Well,
but like the child just it just didn't work. It's like, where did that kid? The kid doesn't match the parent that they were matched up with in the movie.
What were we all watching?
I can't remember what it was, but
Oh, was it The Kid with Bruce Willis?
no, that was spot on.
Oh, okay.
No,
I
I'm
haven't
talking
seen
like-
that movie, so
I'm
in case anyone wants to get mad at
I'm
me.
talking about years, like a year or two ago.
Oh, way
we were
earlier.
watching.
in the
a
movie theater?
I don't know what it was. We're going on a tangent.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it. Are we just so desperate to bring, what's his face?
John Cena?
John Cena into a movie. It would have made more sense to have The Rock be his brother.
Oh, Hobbs? You got a crazy story there.
Well, no, but it just appearance-wise,
I know.
there's, and not that I'm looking for it, not that I care, but just make some
to the
logical
point
sense.
to the point where you're just like where it takes you out of the movie and you're like
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. So a good example, Pokemon the movie,
Oh, Detective Pikachu?
Detective Pikachu,
Oh yeah.
phenomenal movie.
I love that movie.
The young guy, the main character, great actor, super funny, super fun, phenomenal movie, and his dad
Is
Ryan
Ryan
Reynolds. So, you never see the mom, but there's a pretty safe presumption or assumption,
Yeah.
right, that they could be very easily related. But when you have two children of the same parents, my brother and I don't look all that much alike, but you can still say that we came out of the same gene pool. So when you're casting, let's not go so out of the realm where they don't look even remotely alike, because then it goes beyond suspending reality as far as like physics and the jumps and the car chases and the bullets. It goes against what we're used to seeing our entire lives.
Yeah.
And so, and when you're already building in a resentment story, then go to what would naturally cause resentment. The
death of his mother.
The death of a mother.
Death of a father.
Or just it didn't work out with the first two, the first couple, or this one's adopted, so he felt like he never measured up.
Thor and Loki.
There you go. Perfect example, right? Loki always feels like second fiddle. He always feels not good enough. And they're diving into that in the Loki story, right?
I don't know. I'm not watching that.
So anyway, they dive into that a little bit. But the point is,
Yeah.
when it's hard to wrap your head around certain things that we have been conditioned all our lives to look for. People look at you and your sisters. They're immediately looking for similarities. When they look at you and your sister, you've got a fair-skinned redhead and an olive-complected brunette. It's bad enough people can't wrap their head around that you're boy-girl twins, and they still ask if you're identical. Okay, but you get the point. Even as boy-girl twins, they're still asking if you're identical. So they're still looking to see that you look alike.
Yeah.
So they went out of their way.
Well, plus here's the thing, you and I might as well be identical.
Yeah. Well, people have a hard time distinguishing our voices in this.
Yeah.
But you go out of your way to pick. I mean, you're talking spot on casting for the two younger.
Unbelievable.
That kid, the younger kid, you can see being a young looking John Cena. You know it as soon as you see his face.
I didn't at first, but as soon as I got like a good look at
when
his
you
facial
started-
structure,
yeah,
and
when
then I
you started seeing more.
and when you see like the parallel between when it shifts like from his face to John Cena, I'm
Yes.
like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
a
the
young
first
John
the
Cena.
first couple scenes, you're like, I don't see it. But as the movie progresses, you're like, ugh, yeah, they did it. They nailed it.
Yep.
The Vin Diesel kid, the Dominic kid,
That kid's even got the voice down.
dead on. I think I've seen him in some before. I've heard his voice before. It was like watching that guy that does he was in Age of Adeline that does Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, I saw
Does a
that.
spot on Harrison Ford and has enough of the look and the mannerisms to just nail the part. So you're going out of your way for all that. But I don't know. I don't want to harp on it too much.
You know what I think
but
we should
we're
do?
going too far out of that.
There's so much stuff we could nitpick here. What I think we should do is take a second. I want you to think of when it comes to like the Fast and Furious stuff. So, is it cars swinging on cables? I want you to think of the worst affront against physics and reality that this movie did.
Oh, the space stuff.
Yours? That's yours? Is going into space.
He turned the steering wheel and drove the gas pedal. Did they hook up the thrusters to the conventional engine in this
I pointed that
Fiero?
out to you.
I know.
I know. That was so ridiculous.
But you said, did he use the steering wheel? And I thought maybe it's just there for him to hold on to. Because he was pressing buttons for the thrusters. But when he said, hey, let's go for it, then all of a sudden he's grabbing the steering wheel and he hit the gas pedal. Because let's not forget, it's still a Fast and the Furious movie. You have to put a car. So someone, what's his face? Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were talking about having all the leftover Star Wars characters and throwing them in the sandbox and playing with all the cast-off stuff that no one wanted. That's how they got all their main characters, right? There's Ugnaughts, there's IG-88, there's Rhodians, there's Bosk, there's a bunch of the side characters, not the main stuff. And they even the little lizards they ride are not the main lizards.
Dad, you keep going on.
Sorry, too far into the point. The biggest problem with the entire movie is that they grabbed their cars and their spaceships and their planes and their G.I. Joe characters and their James Bond characters
And their Thundercats.
And their Thundercats. Yeah. And they put them all in the same sandbox and then started making a movie. That was the biggest problem with the movie. That's where the movie fell apart. You're trying to put too much into something to make it this big blockbuster, when at the end of the day, after 9 other movies or 9 other movies, you don't need it. You don't need any of that.
My least favorite part, or like my worst affront against reality, has to be this. I wanted to say the cable swinging scene with the car, but it's a little obvious.
Yeah.
My worst one was when Roman took out that entire room full of guys with one AK-47.
I would have to agree.
With 500 rounds in the magazine,
Yeah.
and he's riddled with bullets and not even scratched. And they go with that stupid invincible plot for the rest of the movie.
Well, not even a plot. It was just
A recurring.
No. It was pointing out.
The writers literally. I think the writers were poking fun at us, trying to say like they're literally saying, look,
they made fun of themselves.
You guys know how stupid this is,
They
right?
made fun of themselves multiple times. So, was it Letty's character?
The whole invincible thing and the lucky thing and
Yeah, there were like 3 or 4 times where they poked fun at their very absurdity of what they just went through. So you're like, okay, there's no way you would have gotten through that, and they poke fun at it. He's like, oh, maybe, and they make fun of him for even saying he's invincible, and then there was another scene where they did something, and she says something to Dom about, oh, how did we even get through that? It's like, yeah, you're right. That's exactly what I was thinking, and so they just kind of they don't take the movie doesn't take itself too seriously.
No, but
obviously
the thing I will say about this movie, though, to put a neat little bow on it, is I think I genuinely didn't enjoy it. I don't like it, and like the jokes did not land. Everybody was just in there going through the motions.
Yeah.
The laziest writing, some of the laziest acting I've seen.
Yeah.
And just utter ridiculousness. And it's not even just us. Like, people were walking out of the theater. I heard one guy, we were giggling, but I heard one kid say, like, that was the most boring movie I've ever seen. One guy walked out and he's like, that's the last Fast and Furious movie I ever go to. This one is, honestly, I think it's a franchise killer.
I think the franchise was dead, and there's a term called jumping the shark.
Yeah.
When you've outlived your life expectancy and you're still going.
So you just do whatever. You just jump into a volcano because why not?
You've done it all, right? So.
But like, I don't think there's going to be a Fast 10. Or
I honestly,
what am I saying?
I think they could.
Yes, there is.
But they enough. They think if they throw enough action and explosions at you, and keep you moving so quickly, that the ADHD generation will be able to keep up, or even won't be able to keep up. So it'll just you'll be like you walk out just wow, because at the end of the day, what else can you say when you walk out of the movie other than wow?
I mean, hey,
there was a lot of cool stuff in it.
Kids will enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I genuinely didn't like it. I don't want to see it again for sure.
Okay, so.
And I'll let you finish your point.
To close it, how can you make it better? Just a couple tweaks. What couple of tweaks could you make it better without changing the story too bad?
More dialogue. You need more dialogue and more in-depth dialogue.
You mean more explanation?
No,
more exposition?
No. What I mean is, it was nothing but one-liners. It was nothing but one-liners. You need more dialogue. You need more characters going in depth on their thoughts
to bring the chaos together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So like, not just we're not them. When it in the whole parent thing. It's like this. You could say this is what we've been from the beginning. They came in from the start. They were people who got in the game. We were in the game, and we had to learn to be people. Right there, that's a better line than what they already did.
Yeah.
I already like that better, and like that, it needs more. Because here's the thing: there's a lot of racing in the first Fast and the Furious movie, but there's not a whole lot.
They went from being thieves to being secret agents.
So
just the whole
this spy life suits me.
Yeah.
What are they spying on?
I don't get it. But anyway.
So yeah.
So the chase scene with the magnets was very reminiscent of which one's the one the bank heist one? 5?
No. Yeah.
I think that's 5.
Yeah, it's Fast 5.
It was very reminiscent of that. So there's a lot of high speed car chase, and there's a lot of running. They really make their money off of shifting cars in a almost like in a 3-dimensional plane. A lot of the side to side movement more than just the forward and backwards in the racing.
Right.
So the magnets become the same concept of the push and pull of the cables with the bank vault, right? They're just not using cables this time.
So how would you make it better?
I would take out the absurd nature of it.
Well,
take out the rope bridge and just put it in a regular bridge. But just have him have himself launch himself off the edge of the cliff, and you're like, why did he do that? And then getting picked up by the jet.
Oh, I didn't even want to bring that up.
If that's all you, as long as you're not landing it in the back of the jet and you're using the magnets to pull them up, I'll buy into that. I'll buy into the magnets. Don't have the magnets push.
So what you're saying is...
Don't have the magnets have a push capability because it doesn't work that way.
So what you're saying is don't have so much icing on the cake when it comes to the absurdity?
Just, it doesn't have to be a rope suspension bridge. Yeah, we're in the jungle, but guess what? Is that jungle so remote that they're going to put a bridge that you drive across, but it's made of wood and cable? No, they're going to have a legit bridge. Otherwise, they wouldn't drive across it. And if you can't drive across it, then you don't get to drive across it. Keep it within the bounds of what a car can do. If they're building rockets, you don't have to attach it to a car. Just fly them up in a jet.
Yeah, why didn't they just fly a rocket up there?
Better yet, use the jet and the plane to launch the car at the satellite while it's launching, before it's in orbit. I mean, you don't get the same timeline, but you actually get more excitement because you have to time it with the jump, with the launch, before it hits orbit, at the same time it's trying to sync with below. And at the end of the day, why do you need to get the little green box if you're taking out the satellite? And if you get the green box, why do you need to take out the satellite? You don't need to do both. Or am I mistaken?
Well, they can always make another satellite.
Yeah, so you eventually want to get it.
Why don't they just destroy the green box? When they got one half, why didn't they just destroy it?
Good question. And why didn't Kurt Russell ever come back in to thank them for all their hard work? You spend all this money on having him there. At least have him thank him at the end of the story.
All right, we gotta...
So...
Okay, there's so much that we didn't even touch on, and we're already, like, over time a little bit. I mean, obviously not as long as our Wonder Woman one was, but there's...
Hope you enjoy.
I would say, I'm just gonna say it. If I were you, I wouldn't watch the movie. My dad disagrees.
Go have fun.
Go have fun. I didn't have fun. I'm having a little bit of fun ripping into it, but, like, I would have just rather gone to bed. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I loved going to the movies with you.
Yeah.
But any other movie.
But it's a good lesson in not taking life so seriously. It's fun.
Yeah. But for me, I don't need to take life seriously to know that I don't like it when it burns when I pee. All right, this has been Movies with My Dad. Thank you for listening.